Grandmaster Yuri, good afternoon. You have been engaged in martial arts for many years and have already created your own style, Agni Kempo. Tell me, how long do you go on your path? I have been in the martial arts for more than 47 years, and for 20 years I have been creating my own style. As your program said today, Alexander Nauhatko, Vice President of the International Sambo Federation, head coach of the Ukrainian national team in Sambo, and my friend, that he knows my problems well, and we both, in our country, are trying to punch a concrete wall with our heads. Yes, he talked about this in the first part of our telethon. In Ukraine, it was planned to host the European Sambo Championship. National teams from more than 40 European countries must arrive. This was supposed to be a big event for the sport of our country, but the leadership of our country could not find the money for this grand event. Have you had such disappointments in your life too? Sure, it was the same in my life, but I never got depressed. In general, I don't know what it is. Probably, I was given such high psychological stability by regular martial arts exercises that set up a person to constantly overcome various life obstacles. As they say, with the help of our enemies and obstacles, we only grow and become stronger. If we talk about representatives of the martial arts in general, then these people are warriors of spirit and honor. Now I can say that I personally am ashamed of the situation that has now happened with Sambo in our country. I really hope that our government officials feel the same shame. I understand you, since Sambo was the basis for starting the exercise in your style of Agni Kempo. Yes. Sambo, combat Sambo and Judo are part of the Agni Kempo basis. I know that you have a hard time. Not everyone knows how you won the World Cup, having lost your training center before that. Tell us about it. Yes, this has happened. In 1999, we signed an agreement with some state organization on the rental of premises for the equipment of our training center. The contract was signed for 15 years. But, in 2001, some oligarch bought out our center without informing us, and his people have already notified us about this as a fait accompli. In fact, it was a raid seizure. It happened in the winter, a month before the World Cup. My team and I continued to train in the forest, knee-deep in the snow, since the winter was very snowy. As we say, there is a silver lining. Training in deep snow was a very good method. Of course, this should not be. The national team of the country should train in comfortable conditions to achieve the highest results. And our training, at that moment, was extreme. In the forest then it was -25°C. However, we arrived at this Ashihara Karate World Cup and won it. In all weight categories our guys became champions. However, if we talk about the methods of preparing Agni Kempo, then I have 6 levels. The first 3 levels are for all civilians. This is quite enough to protect yourself in any particular situation against several attackers. The 4th level is for our instructors and special forces officers. The 5th level is for our international instructors and security officers, and the 6th level is already Secret Service officers and advanced training for our reliable, trusted trainers. This is already getting special knowledge to which not everyone is allowed. One desire is not enough. This is for special people. Well, do our journalists have questions? You understand what an outstanding guest we have in the studio. Before us is a modest and intelligent person, but he is a great master of his craft. This is a real professional. And he can even do a lot without weapons. His whole body is a weapon. You talked about the warriors of the spirit. I understand that you can learn some kind of martial arts system. But how can a person acquire a real military spirit? You, as a teacher, when you see a new student, will you already realize that a warrior and a master will turn out from this? but that it will not work out from another. I have 3 great luggage in the form of life experience, personal martial arts experience and martial arts teaching experience. Therefore, when young people come to me to train, I see them completely, like an X-ray machine. That is, I immediately see who and why came to me. But at the same time I treat everyone the same and equally conscientious to give my knowledge. Most incoming students have one and the same motivation: they learn to fight, learn to defend themselves. However, from the very beginning I know that, for example, this student will leave in 2 or 3 months, and this student will stay for a long time. But if he changes his own motivation to the correct one, if someone came to learn how to fight, then such motivation will be enough for the first 3 levels. The human psyche is so arranged. If a student does not change his motivation, then he will not achieve anything in further promotion. As a rule, motivation changes during the first year of training. Full knowledge of Agni Kempo, its peaks, is achieved only by those who have discarded the motivation of ordinary self-defense and decided to follow the Agni Kempo way, comprehending its physical, technical, philosophical and spiritual aspects. We accept everyone in our organization, and then, as in life, natural selection takes place. I have 3 bags of vast experience. Experience in personal training in martial arts, experience in teaching martial arts, and life experience. And relying on my own experience, I can confidently say that champions are not those people who are gifted by nature, but those who have average abilities, not great talent, but great industriousness and the will to achieve their goals. It was these students of mine with my help that created themselves and became champions of Europe and the world. Acquired by them during difficult training, the spirit of a warrior in the end gives such a result. The spirit of a warrior is the main thing in any martial art. Tell me, how to start training of Agni Kempo? Is it just the execution of some physical exercises, or, in the beginning, is it the development of some foundations of philosophy and psychology? I understood you. You named almost everything. But, I want to clarify that physical activity in our system is growing very gradually, because Agni Kempo is not just a sport, but a martial art in which the foundation for achieving superior mastery is the health of each participant in the training process. Without a good amount of health, no achievement is possible. However, if I see that some young man wants to take part in competitions, then I begin to prepare him for them. You need to understand that the main goal of Agni Kempo is not competition, but the survival of a person in an extreme combat situation, or on the street, or during special military operations, on the battlefield. However, I want to say that from the very beginning of the training process, the whole practice and theory of Agni Kempo is taught simultaneously and in parallel. In this case, theory and practice are inseparable. By the way, I like working with the so-called blank sheets most of all. These are those who have never practiced martial arts. They absorb everything very efficiently and quickly. People who already have experience in martial arts are more difficult to work with. Using our methods, we must first erase this previous knowledge or adapt it to our requirements. It is difficult, but possible. This prevents me from relaxing and makes me constantly be in good physical and technical condition. I am one of those coaches who love to show their students the correct technique of impacts, kicks and throws by himself. The student must see the standard to which you need to strive in your achievements. And just standing, telling something and demonstrating it only with the help of fingers is not right and embarrassing. Therefore, I still train for 2 to 3 hours daily, and this is until the end of my days. It is a great honor for a real warrior to die on the battlefield, and for a true master and trainer of martial arts, it is the same honor to end your life way not in a warm bed, but in a dojo, on the tatami. And how quickly can reach the black belt of Agni Kempo? For complete beginners in martial arts, this may be 2 or 3 years of regular training. For those who have experience in martial arts, this period can be reduced to 1 or 1.5 years. By regular training I mean training 3 times a week for 2 to 3 hours each. I do not understand how they work in other countries 2 times a week for 1.5 hours. What can be given during this time? It's just business and making money for the club. Therefore, in Western clubs can simultaneously teach several styles. It gives more money, but it spoils the quality. I am an adherent of old traditions. One club, one style. This is the path of the highest quality. Each club and coach themselves choose which way they should go, the path of money or the way of martial art. Tell me, is all this based on fanaticism or something else? I am against fanaticism in any field of activity. Fanaticism, as a rule, leads to tragedies, as some organization, and the state. In martial art, one should have not stupid fanaticism, but a meaningful, conscious aspiration. Philosophy in general and the philosophy of martial arts, in particular, say that a martial artist must be aware that something can be achieved only through sacrifice. Every day we sacrifice something, for the sake of something or someone. If there is a correct understanding of this process, then a goal will certainly be achieved. Have you had to sacrifice something? Sure, for 47 years of experience in martial arts. Many had to sacrifice, even in the family. But I'm not sorry about anything. All the negative and positive received is my experience. This is my way, which I walk myself. With enormous experience and knowledge in martial arts, you are an ideal that your students imitate. And who was your ideal when you first started your career in martial arts? I studied quite a few types of sport fights and martial arts, such as boxing, sambo, judo and several styles of karate. In childhood, the best-known boxers were my ideal in boxing. The intellectual Korolev and the unrivaled Valery Papanchenko. They were unique in all respects. In sambo, the ideals for me were Spiridonov, Oznobashin, Oshchepkov and our Ukrainian great teacher, the founder of sambo, combat sambo and judo in Ukraine, Roman Shkolnikov, who was my coach. Among the great teachers of Oriental martial arts, my lights were the founder of judo, Professor Jigoro Kano, the founder of sports karate Gatin Funakoshi, the founder of modern karate Masatatsu Oyama, whom I personally knew. All these people for me were an example in achieving their goals. Does your knowledge of Oriental martial arts, in this case, Japanese masters and their martial arts mean that you know a lot about this, saw a lot and read a lot of literature? Indeed, I read a lot and saw a lot. For example, in 1989 I brought the first national team of Ukraine to the European Championship in Hungary in Kyokushinkai Karate, where I met the great Oyama. He did not allow us to the championship in terms of our security. I told him that the team has my personal student who is ready to play and is able to hold the blow. But Oyama was a radical man. Either everyone is participating, or no one is participating. When the championship began, a lot of people from other teams and all our guys went to do shopping and watch Budapest. Especially since our guys went abroad for the first time. I and my student, Yuri Bruenko, who later in 1993, for the first time in Eastern Europe, made 50 fights without stopping. We stayed at the Sports Palace and watched the entire championship without getting up from 10 AM to 10 PM. It was a tremendous experience and knowledge that I then received. Later, Fate brought me together with masters from various martial arts with whom I exchanged the exchange of experience and knowledge. They took a lot from me and I learned a lot from them. Our viewers have ears and eyes, and here's the call to the studio. We are listening to you. Good night. I have a question for you. Where are your classes held and how to get to you for training? In order not to take time in the studio, it is best to call us at 050-172-1701 and we will personally answer all your questions and tell you everything. And the trainings themselves are held at the sports base of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Phone again, 050-172-1701. It is located at the stadium of the Central Army Sports Club, next to the Ministry of Defense. If you are from Kiev, then you know where it is. Almost the center of the city. And now we will show you fragments of the training of this serious martial art created by Grandmaster Yuri Kostrov, and we hope that it will become even closer to you. Grandmaster Yuri, what prompted you to create a new style of martial art? In the world for a long time there is a huge number of various martial arts. What gave you an impetus to start research and create a completely new martial art with its own special characteristics? Having a great, almost 50-year experience in martial arts, I researched a lot of styles of martial arts and came to the conclusion that most of them are old-fashioned and are not of interest for use in a modern real combat situation. Therefore, given the international situation, when terrorism began to spread actively around the world, there was a need for new methods of preparing people for such a confrontation, including officers from special anti-terrorist units. This was the motive for creating and constantly improving my Agni Kempo universal fistfight system. In her name, the word universal emphasizes that, really, everyone can find everything necessary for survival and self-defense. That is, you took and created your style out of nothing. Any martial art is a science, and like any science, it cannot take place from scratch. I use the research and knowledge of the masters of the past. As a basis, I took those styles of martial arts that I practiced earlier. First of all, this is Judo, then Sambo and Combat Sambo, as well as several styles of Karate. For example, the very good sports style of Kyokushinkai Karate. However, in this style there was no throws technique. Therefore, it cannot be fully used in a real combat situation. In other styles, on the contrary, there is no technique of various punches and kicks. But even if they have it, then it is of little use for a real combat situation. Thus, after conducting such research for several years, I created a universal combat system for survival. Tell me, where are the roots of your style? The roots of the style are in Combat Sambo, Judo and the styles I have previously listed. Having studied all this, I began to rebuild some techniques and create new methods, constantly improving Agni Kempo. Therefore, Agni Kempo differs from old systems, first of all, by its efficiency. Do you consider yourself a follower of Oshchepkov, Kalampiev and Shkolnikov? Of course. For example, Vasily Oshchepkov is the only fighter from Russia who graduated from the Kodokan Institute and got his black belt from the hands of the founder of Judo, Professor Jigoro Kano. And what principles are laid in the foundation of Agni Kempo's universal fist fight? The first principle is naturalness. All movements in Agni Kempo are natural to man. The second is timeliness. The attack and counter-attack should be carried out at the right time. The third is accuracy. This implies saving and brevity of action. Fourth, the use of vulnerable areas and points of the human body. And the final, fifth principle is a methodological path of improvement from simple to complex. Based on what I understand, Agni Kempo is a very practical style. Indeed, Agni Kempo is a very rational system that is designed for military use. In addition, the system is very accessible in training and allows you to master it in the shortest possible time. What time is needed to go from a beginner to a master? If this is an absolute beginner, then it will take him 2 to 3 years. If a beginner has experience in training, for example, judo or karate for 2 to 3 years, then in our style he will be able to overcome this path in 1 year of regular training. Something is too fast. I said at the beginning that our style is based on natural movements for humans and we have special techniques to speed up the learning process. How popular is Agni Kempo's universal fist fight in Ukraine? It so happened that our style is better known abroad. Our administrative offices already in several countries. Some aspects of our system were taken by the Army Special Forces in Morocco, the Bulgarian Security Service, the President's Security Unit in South Korea and the French Gendarmerie. This process continues. Do they know in other countries that Agni Kempo is the Ukrainian system? Of course, they know about this and respect our country. Where to go to those viewers who want to practice Agni Kempo and train with you? Anyone who seriously decides to engage in Agni Kempo can call 050-172-1701 and get answers to all his questions. In our style, everything is built on the natural movements and reflex responses of the human body. Before me is my student who does not know how and where I will strike. If I make a hand movement now, my student will naturally react to it. This is a reflex defense. Here is the second movement, into the eyes and again, the reflex response. Further, the grasping movement is absolutely natural to humans. Therefore, capture itself is natural. In addition, each of us knows how to clap our hands. That is, clapping is also natural. Therefore, if we make a grip and combine it with cotton, we get a natural result. The conditional opponent is defeated. The whole system of self-defense in our style is built on natural movements and reactions.